Hello, I'm Kenda, and I'm an expat living full-time in a little section of Los Cabos called San Jose Del Cabo. I'm also a founding partner of the real estate brokerage Finn Real Estate Group. I spend a lot of time studying the trends in the real estate market, both in the United States, where I'm from, and also in Los Cabos, where I live. I tend to look at things in a positive way by nature, but it's hard to ignore all the negative news about the stock market, the rising interest rates, the failing economy. Well, you have to understand that the Los Cabos market is a little different. It's mainly because it's a cash market. That means there are not a lot of mortgages, so interest rates don't really affect us. Sure, the declining stock market does affect us, but there are buyers who recognize that there's more money to be made in the Los Cabos real estate market than they can make in the stock market. So they're still buying. So yeah, we are slowing a little bit, but I think it's a good thing. We really needed a correction. So in this video, what I'm going to do is analyze the market from January 1st until today versus those same dates for last year, 2021. All of my data are based on the MLS BCS numbers, which is the multiple listing service platform that we use in the Baja California SUR. You should also know that not all sales are recorded on the MLS like they should be. For that reason, my numbers are only estimates, even though they are backed with all of the data I have at my disposal. I'm going to structure this video a little differently. I'm going to update you on the 6 primary zones in Los Cabos. So starting on the west side of the peninsula, I'm going to talk to you about what we call the Pacific side. Then we'll move down south to Cabo San Lucas, and then towards the east to go to the Cabo Corridor. The Cabo Corridor rounds the tip of the peninsula into the San Jose Corridor, which eventually becomes San Jose Del Cabo. Finally, continuing up the east side of the peninsula, we're going to discuss the zone that we call the East Cape. Covering all of these 6 zones is going to make for a kind of a long video, but the idea that I have for this one is that you can skip to the zone that is of greatest interest to you. Now, there are 2 other zones, La Paz and Laredo, but I don't really follow those markets as much, so I prefer to stick with what I know. However, if you have a specific question about La Paz or Laredo, just leave me a message and I'll do some research for you. So let's get started with the Pacific zone. Okay, the Pacific side. This area lies north of Cabo San Lucas, where some very exclusive neighborhoods like Quivira, Diamante, and Rancho San Lucas can be found. It also includes the little town of Todos Santos, which is up and coming, if you will. It's a quaint, artsy little town, and it still moves at a slower pace, especially when you're driving on their dirt roads. When comparing 2021 to 2022, the Pacific side saw a slight increase in active listings for condos, about 11%, and a more sizable increase for houses, roughly 45%. The average sales price for both increased. For condos in 2021, the average price was around $402,000, and so far this year it's $529,000. For houses, the 2021 average was around $915,000, and it rose 17% this year. One of the most notable changes is the average days on the market. You can check out my other video about DOM if you want to better understand the significance of this statistic. But for both condos and houses, there was an impressive 41% decrease in DOM. That means that properties on the Pacific side are selling faster this year than they did last year. All right, moving down to Cabo San Lucas. This area seems to be mostly stable compared to last year. We're still seeing an increase in active listings for housing and a small decrease in active listings for condo, and notably a significant decrease in days on the market, especially for houses, which went down about 56%. There's been an influx of new lower priced condo developments in this area, so the average sales price per condo dropped about 12% from roughly $415,000 last year to $364,000 this year. It's a different story for houses in Cabo San Lucas, which went from an average price of roughly $702,000 up 37% to $969,000. I think the beautiful and iconic neighborhood of Pedregal is partially responsible for this price hike. So let's move on. Now let's talk about the Cabo Corridor. If there's been one area in Los Cabos that's seen the most change visually since 2021, I think it would be the Cabo Corridor. There are so many new condominium developments there. We saw an 88% increase in active properties in 1 year. At the same time, DOM decreased by 55%. 435 condos were sold this year in the Cabo Corridor, which represents an 86% increase in the number of units sold, seemingly keeping pace with the rate of active properties coming on the market. The unique thing for these condos in this zone is that the average sales price barely budged over the last year. This makes me a bit wary that this area has been oversaturated with condo development a little too quickly. With so much inventory available, I expect to see that the prices will drop in this neighborhood. Houses also saw a similar decrease in DOM, but the prices held pretty steady, only increasing about 2%. Generally, a healthy rate of increase is 5%. So the average condo price in the Cabo Corridor is $350,000, and the average home price is $566,000. This area represents a little pocket of affordable properties between Cabo San Lucas and the San Jose Corridor. The San Jose Corridor market looks very different than its Cabo Corridor sister. First, let's look at condos. There are 169 condos on the market, 9 fewer than last year. The average DOM for this zone is down 30% to 287, but the average sales price is also down. It now sits at $1,071,000, which is about 20% lower than last year. Houses in the San Jose Corridor follow a similar trend. There are 111 homes on the market, down 27% from last year. DOM is also down to 171, which represents a 51% decrease. When it comes to home prices, the average home is still quite high at over $2.8 million, but that number is also down from last year, roughly 6%. For a while, the San Jose Del Corridor market was the hottest market, but it seemed to have cooled off significantly. Still, the high sales price makes the San Jose Corridor the most expensive place to buy property in Los Cabos. As you can imagine, it contains the most luxurious developments around. Keep in mind that that $2.8 million number I just mentioned is the average sales price of all of the sales combined. The total sales volume so far this year for the San Jose Corridor is over $273 million. Now, that is a lot of real estate money. Moving eastward, San Jose Del Cabo, my neck of the woods, is tracking closely with the San Jose Corridor, although we have more volume. There are currently 272 condos on the market, and again, the average DOM is down 52% from last year. The average sales price for condos here is about $450,000, which is a slight increase from last year. There are fewer houses available, only 137. DOM is way down from last year and sits at 183 days. The average price for a home in San Jose Del Cabo stayed consistent at a little over $1.4 million. Final zone is the East Cape. The East Cape is still quite remote. There are some places where you can sit on the beach for hours and never see another soul except for maybe a wild donkey who will come to visit you for some water. The roads are still dirt and much of the East Cape living is off-grid. But we are seeing some very interesting changes in the East Cape. Some large developments are slated for that area, and money is being spent on infrastructure in the East Cape. There aren't a lot of condos on the East Cape and only about 100 houses on the market, but the average DOM there is dropping too. I'm keeping my eye on the East Cape for sure. You can still get a nice ocean view parcel of land there for under 100K. It's remarkable. Now, on the flip side, there are also some very exclusive areas for the East Cape. Take, for example, Costa Palmas near La Ribera. Costa Palmas is a Four Seasons resort with a golf course, a marina, and eventually its own private airstrip for private jets. Lots on the marina there are priced at over $1 million. So it's happening. Well, that's a snapshot of the 6 zones in Los Cabos. I have people asking me almost every day if the market here is slowing down. People worry about gloom and doom and rising interest rates and falling stock markets. As I stated earlier in this video, I follow the US market very closely, and I hear stories all the time of frozen or plummeting real estate markets. I know these stories are real and they can be very scary, but the numbers here in Los Cabos still look healthy overall. We still have a declining DOM and inclining prices. Condos and houses are still selling at an average of 97% of list price. Yes, we do see things slowing a bit, and people are taking more time to consider their purchases and maybe even wait for the perfect property. But I just don't see the gloom and doom yet in the Los Cabos market. In my humble opinion, the market needed to cool off here. I'm very hopeful for a gradual correction, and you know that I will keep you updated. Well, thank you so much for watching. I know this was a long video, but please like and subscribe. I would also love to hear your thoughts and comments on your experience with the real estate market here in Los Cabos. And if there's anything I can do for you, please don't hesitate to reach out.